Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee Convos podcast. Unfortunately, Lindsie is not with us right now because she is in LA recording for another show. So we'll have an update for you on that when she comes back, but I don't want to spill the beans quite yet. And in the meantime, I have my best friend, Kristen, who's never been on this podcast, but she was in the premiere episode of Teen Mom 2.
Hello.
So welcome, Kristen.
Thank you for having me.
Kristen and I are podcasting from my couch. It is almost 10 o'clock at night, and here we are podcasting. I haven't talked to our listeners about the new addition to my family.
Yeah, it's a girl. I think we saw that on Instagram.
Yeah. I was trying to throw everyone off, but I don't think anyone bought it.
No.
But I did get a puppy. So I have Karma. She's a Cane Corso puppy, and she's here in the background. So if y'all hear her, it's just puppy playtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 10 p.m. is a good time to play.
Awesome. And potty training is going. It's going.
Yes. I think she's doing pretty well.
She is. That's her jumping up on the mic. So how are you?
Doing well.
You're doing well.
Yeah.
Good.
I always love coming to visit.
So I feel like we should just jump right into things. And I saw this thing on Twitter yesterday or the day before. And it was about, did you hear this story about Skylar Brooke Richardson?
Yes, but I don't think a lot of people have, so you should probably...
Okay, so I didn't hear any of the media coverage about this. I'm so sorry. The puppy is eating my headphones. I didn't hear any of the media coverage on this prior to her sentencing. So I didn't hear this story or like see it on the news or anything. Apparently this 17-year-old Ohio cheerleader hid a pregnancy from her family, her friends, and then gave birth unbeknownst to anyone and then buried the baby in her family's backyard. And I'm pretty sure I read that she lit the baby's foot on fire and burned the baby up to the chest because she tried to cremate her.
Right. And then she got off, like, without she was found not guilty of murder, right?
Correct. So they did not know if the baby died before it was buried or if she killed the baby before it was buried.
Right.
But she got charged with abuse of a corpse.
Right.
And it was, I want to say 3 years probation.
Right. Like no jail time.
None.
Which, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like if you have a child and you give birth to that child and you bury the baby, whether it was dead or alive, you should probably go to jail.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't think that's...
I guess...
a good thing to do.
Any other murder that I've seen or read about, I haven't seen a murder.
Maybe you have.
I have not. Any murder that I've seen on TV or heard about or anything, they always know if the person was killed prior to being buried.
Right.
So I guess I'm confused where they wouldn't know for this particular case if the baby was killed or stillborn.
Yeah, that confused me too because, like you said, everything I've ever seen on TV, they always know. Like even if somebody was burned, alive, they know. They can tell because there's like damage inside from inhaling smoke or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe I would assume like as soon as the baby comes out, if it's able to breathe, you would know if it took a breath,
right,
or it didn't.
So then I was reading the text messages to her mom that very night. Was like, I got my belly back, my belly's back to normal, I can't wait to go to dinner and look super cute. And it's like, how the fuck did you hide a whole 8-month 9-month pregnancy from your family? And where the fuck was your family when you were burying it in the backyard? And where the fuck did you burn this baby?
Right.
How did this all go down and nobody knew? And the brother testified saying that his sister had an eating disorder, and then it was maybe the eating disorder affected the growth of the child, but she named the baby Annabelle. And again, where is your family and who found it also? Who found...
I don't remember.
Let me see if I can look it up, because like I said, I didn't know about it until after the fact.
Yeah. When it was being covered on Twitter and stuff.
Who found...
I'm just very confused if, like, you don't name a dead baby. I mean, let me take that back. You don't name a baby that you're going to bury in your backyard.
Okay, here's the thing. There are people who are pro-choice. There are people who are pro-life. I don't give a fuck what you believe. If this was the route that she was going to go, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to maintain this perfect life and this image that you have. When you found out you were pregnant, you had to have thought, oh, I'll just kill the baby when it's born, right? That person, her specifically, not everybody, just her. So did it never cross your mind to think, maybe I should just get an abortion?
Right. Like, why?
You waited until, and I'm not saying that I believe one way or the other. We don't need to get into that. I'm just saying, if this is the life that you were wanting to portray, this is the image that you have, this is this happened, why didn't you go get the abortion pill?
Right. Like, you planned on not becoming a mother from the beginning. So why didn't you do that before the baby was born? So I get what you're saying. That's very weird to me.
I'm still trying to find.
You would think that typically someone who, like, doesn't choose to get an abortion, generally, like, they don't believe in it themselves or their family is pressuring them to not. But then again, you killed your child after it was born. So you can't say that you're against, like, murder because you just did it.
It says online how Richardson's lawyer claimed the baby was stillborn and the grieving mother buried her child in a marked grave. She tweeted, or did she tweet it? It says, a text exchange. I'm literally speechless with how happy I am. My belly is back. Oh my God, I never ever am letting it get like this again. She texted her mom hours after the burial and said, I'm literally so excited for dinner to wear something cute. Yay, my belly is back. Now I'm taking this opportunity to make it amazing. That's what she texted her mom.
So she had no remorse and wasn't even sad. If the baby was a stillborn, you wouldn't be excited about going to dinner.
Richardson's doctor also testified, saying she didn't even realize she was pregnant until she was about 6 months along. I'm still not, it's not saying who found the baby. Like,
right.
That's what I guess I'm...
Like, how did she get found out?
She had been accused of murdering her newborn daughter and burying her remains in the backyard. It says that a detective, like, interviewed her, and Richardson kept saying, I had a baby, and it wasn't alive. I didn't kill her, though. It was just the way she kept adamantly wanting to interject. I didn't kill it. Just from experience, a lot of times over the course of my career, people who are guilty are the ones who adamantly, defiantly telling us overtly, I didn't do this. I mean, Richardson admitted that she hid the pregnancy from everyone, including her parents. She told detectives she delivered the baby alone in her bathroom. She told the doctor that she delivered in her bedroom. 6 days. It's still not saying
who found it.
I don't know. That's what I guess if anyone knows, please write in and let us know.
I have a lot of questions. Right. Because, like, as a mom, whether she delivered in her bedroom or her bathroom, you as a mom, there's no way you're not going to know something like that's going on with your kid if they're living in the same house as you. Like, you're going to know.
Do you think her parents knew?
I mean, I just don't buy that. If she's saying she got her belly back, it must have grown. Therefore, somebody would have noticed she was getting
bigger.
Wouldn't a girl that age?
Oh, some people don't show. Like, some people really don't show.
Right, but she was saying I got my belly back. So obviously something changed. So who didn't pick that up? I don't know. But I feel like as a mom, could you imagine, like, say you had a daughter, not knowing at some point that something was going on? Like, even if she didn't find out till she was 6 months pregnant.
Right, like when you start showing.
She still went the full till delivery. She still delivered. And, I mean, like, delivery is not quick.
No.
So you're going to know, like, why is my kid in the bathroom for this long?
I read something else, too, and this might have been made up, but that she may or may not have tried to give herself an abortion. I don't know how true that is, and so don't mark my words, but that was definitely something that I read on the internet.
So I wonder if maybe that's why she delivered. Like, maybe she didn't deliver like maybe she tried to give herself an abortion and then caused her early delivery.
I wonder if they'll do an ID special on this. Sorry, guys, I'm a little congested. I might not sound like myself. I know a lot of y'all were writing in saying, was that Lindsie on the podcast the last time that we recorded, because it didn't sound like her at all, but it was definitely Lindsie. So if I sound congested, it's still me. I mean, I don't know. I guess, they did the ID special on the Gypsy story, so surely they're going to do one on this.
I hope so, just because I feel like
there's so many
get more facts.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep our eyes and ears open for that. So if you're like most people, you're not getting enough fruits and vegetables in your diet, and that's why you need your Super. Your Super is on a mission to improve people's health with the power of super plants. They make it easy for you to get all the nutrients in your body you need to thrive. So your Super's functional superfood and plant protein mixes are made from naturally dried organic whole foods or superfoods and nothing else. And with your Super's 100% transparent supply chain, you know you're getting the cleanest superfood mixes on the market. So I love this because I don't eat fruits and vegetables daily. I don't even eat them weekly. So this definitely helps my diet and gets me what I need. I love your Super. It's the easiest and most delicious way to get your fruits and veggies in. And I feel like I have more energy and I'm able to get things done in a day. So if you love that, you can mix it with your dinner recipes like pasta sauce or a smoothie, and it's packed with vitamins. Get the cleanest superfood and plant protein mixes at yoursuper.com. That's yoursuper.com. Get 15% off your order when you use code COFFEE at checkout. Just go to yoursuper.com, and don't forget you get 15% off with promo code COFFEE at checkout. Speaking of murderers, I just started a show on Netflix called Mindhunter. Have you heard of it?
I haven't until you were talking about it, so I'm kind of anxious to watch it.
Apparently, I'm late to the party. So a bunch of my friends have been watching this, and it's basically the beginning of when the FBI really started researching, the scientifical, is that even a word? The science.
Scientific.
They're like scientists and trying to figure out like the way a serial killer's mind works.
Okay.
So it's like the beginning of the FBI's department.
Okay.
In criminal psychology.
So it's kind of like the beginning of Criminal Minds. Like what made Criminal Minds Criminal Minds. Like Criminal Minds is the FBI's division of criminologists.
Yeah, it's just the characters from what I've seen so far are accurately depicting the people in real life. And if you look up, one of the first murderers on here is Ed Kemper. And I'm all about the ID channel, and I know about murderers, and the way that their mind works is fascinating because you don't know why they think the way that they do.
Right.
I had never actually heard of Ed Kemper. So Ed Kemper is, I want to say he's 6'7" or 6'9", and he murdered his paternal grandparents and his mom.
Right.
And then he murdered 7 other people. And he then would have sex with their heads.
Yes.
Never heard of him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I had never heard of him until this. And so, anyways, I'm on episode 3 or 4. And it's really good so far. So you need to watch it.
I know. I'm excited now that...
But I feel like I'm so late. And I hate that. Yeah. I don't like to watch shows that are... Like, people be like, oh, what should I binge next on Netflix? I don't like waiting until the show is 6 years old to watch it.
Right.
And I know that sounds so dumb and, like, it shouldn't matter, but I really just don't like it.
I think you like to participate in, like, discussions about the stuff you're watching, especially if it interests you. And now you're kind of like, I don't even want to tweet about this because I'm so late to the party.
So late. I feel like I'm not as late for Mindhunters unless maybe it's a lot older than I thought. I'm not sure.
I haven't even heard about it until you said something. So.
Right. I only heard about it recently.
Right.
Because my friend Bone watched it, and then Lindsie, like, literally within the same 48 hours, so that she finished it, and I was like, I've never even heard of this.
Maybe we need to step out of the ID channel realm and actually, like, binge watch Netflix sometimes.
I just finished watching Working Mom Season 3.
It's your favorite show.
And I'm wondering, when is Season 4 coming out, and when am I going to make a cameo, because I've talked about it so much, and I just love it so much.
Yeah.
It's just so relatable. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, my puppy's chewing on Kristen's hands. So, so as you guys know, I moved into a new house pretty recently, and it sounds like I've been talking about it for months, but I haven't even been in the new house for 2 months. It's been literally like 6 weeks. And so my house was built in 2004, but for whatever reason, the previous owners decided to decorate it like it was built in 1994.
Correct.
So my shades, they're like blind shades in my one, I call it the game room, but there's not any like games in there or anything. I aspire for it to be a game room.
She's speaking it into existence.
Right. I want to put a pool table in there. That's the goal. So we're going to call it the game room. It's like a sunroom, and it has windows on all 3 out of 4 walls. So all of the shade blinds in there were green and yellow.
Yes, outdated.
And they had like little, what would you call it? Like pom-poms?
Like, I don't even want to say fringe, but
it wasn't fringe.
It was something attached to them.
So they were hideous. Yes. And I decided to go into blinds to go, and I have never been into blinds to go prior to this because none of my other houses had blinds. So I went into blinds to go.
Yeah, because I told you to.
I was so impressed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, walked in. First of all, it wasn't busy, so I was super happy. I think I went on a good time. And there's so many selections and so many types of shades. And I didn't realize that. Like, you can get like
any kind.
Literally. But I wanted something super simple because I wanted to stay pretty neutral. Their service was great. So I went in there super quick. They scheduled me right away to have someone come out and measure because I didn't know my measurements. And just like super helpful. Within, I would say, 2 weeks, my blinds were like picked out, measured. My appointment was scheduled and completed within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's typical for them, but as far as my scheduling went, it went really well. And I think the guy's name was Gabriel who did them. He was so nice and just helpful. And I don't know, I had a really good experience. Yeah. So I'm going to post before and after pictures of my blinds to go on Instagram. And I never feel like I really want to like engage and answer people's questions, so I'm going to have to try to keep up with that.
Yeah.
It's always hard because like everyone wants to see home improvement pictures, and then if you don't answer them, they're pointless, right? So I need to find out the color and style that I picked so that I can let people know because like I said, I wanted to be super neutral.
Yeah, I think the transformation was really
crazy.
Yeah, and like just the way it made everything come together.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, I would probably say the dining room and the sunroom the most.
Yeah.
Is really, really
brightened
good.
up the room completely.
Oh, yeah.
And they're super easy, and I like that I don't need to put curtains up with them. Like, you can pick shades that you can put curtains over them, too. But the ones that I picked you don't have to put curtains with them. So I really like them. Also, I did, Kristen actually helped me reach out to this company called The Neat Method, and I got my pantry done. My pantry doesn't look crazy. For whatever reason, when I moved in here, they had like that metal shelving unit.
Yeah, like the wire basic Lowe's.
Not melted. Screwed into the walls.
Right.
But my door, the pantry door, was hitting the shelves. And I'm like, why did you guys do this? When people build custom homes, I don't ever think that they think about the resale value ever because they expect to be there for forever or something. Long story short, I had shelves built in there, and the Neat Method came in and gave my pantry a makeover. We're working on the office. The office will hopefully be done tomorrow. And then my third top priority space was my closet. So I'm hoping to be half organized. Because as we all know, I've tried to organize my life in the past. But I think that I was not realistic with it. And I was trying to organize places that I don't think that I could keep organized. Like the pantry, I think I could do. And for sure my office, when I'm not getting so much mail and not opening it and leaving it on the table. And my closet, I already bought it, and it was the whole like organization system was already up there.
Right.
I think we can probably move it around to make it a little more functional. But anyway, if you're in the Philly area, and I think they have other locations, the Neat method is great for organization help. All right, guys, I want to talk to you guys about the Peanut app. So when I first became a mom, I found it super overwhelming at times, as most new moms do. And it was really hard for me to connect to other moms and to hang out with people who shared the same experiences and struggles as I did with motherhood. So I know a lot of you guys can relate to this, and it is super important to find and connect with other moms who are like-minded and can support or build you up through all the seasons of motherhood. So the Peanut app is an app where you can meet like-minded moms in your area. You can talk to them, arrange play dates, ask questions, or just share all the advice. It's a social network for modern motherhood. So I love this app because not only is it easy to use, but because it connects me to other moms that I can relate to who are local and share the same interests as me. So Peanut is available to download for free on the app stores. So download it now and create a profile. You don't want to miss this opportunity to connect with other moms who are just like you. So Kristen and I bought houses within months of each other.
Yeah, I closed in May. I closed May 1st. You closed August 1st.
I don't know.
I think it was the 1st.
I don't know. Like that.
It was within 2 months of each other.
So we've been just texting each other back and forth and trying to talk each other out of or justifying home purchases. And I was obsessed with it, right? Because the couch color was the same color as mine, and I wanted to do like traditional style meets boho. Mm-hmm. This couch had like a rusty, orangey, burnt orange color. I was dead set on doing it.
The pillows, yes. Yes.
And the throw blanket.
Yep.
And so I went to Pier 1, which is bad choice number one, right? Because it's the most expensive home design store.
Yeah.
It's not like I went to Target and got nice quality pillows for $10. I went to Pier 1 and I got the same quality pillows for $1,900.
Yes.
So I committed halfway to this Pinterest idea and decided to do this burnt orange. And then I was like, well, my shutters outside are blue. So now I need to tie in the outside of my house to the inside of my house because I want it to flow from the outside to the inside. Mm-hmm. Right? So that was a fail.
But we determined that you were victimized by Pinterest. Which has happened to everyone. Whether they admit it or deny it, we've all done the same thing where we find either a room or a craft idea, something that we're like, we are fully 100% committing, that looks beautiful, we're doing it, we try, and it's a fail. Like, I think it's a category, like Pinterest fails. I call it you're victimized by Pinterest.
I was so committed to that burnt orange that we went into Pinterest. We went into Pier 1 today, and Kristen was about to let me walk out with $200 worth of more orange and blue shit because I decided that since part of my roof is orange and my shutters outside are blue, that I should then bring those colors into my home and put them in my gray living rooms.
Which, your style in your old house changed a couple times.
Yeah, and it never flowed.
It didn't flow. It really wasn't you, because I think, like, you've done it probably 3 or 4 times, and I'm pretty sure, like, 75% of those times to maybe 95 was someone else doing it for you. And it kind of wasn't, like, you.
Right. The only time I ever liked my house was when I did it.
Correct. But, like, you listen, you know, you're a people pleaser. We know that.
Right.
You take everyone's opinions into consideration, and you kind of try to execute around them. So I think that I knew you were changing your styles for this house. So I was like, you know what? It's bizarre, but I'm just going to go with it because that's what she wants. So we were going to execute that
fucking Pinterest idea.
And then I feel like once you saw it, you'd have been like, no, this is bad.
As soon as we walked into Pier 1 today, I was like, this is not me. Like,
right, you were going more by color scheme than, like, your
and there was no
overall
scheme.
Style. No, it was, I just need to know if anyone else does what you were thinking of doing. Like, taking the outside colors of their home and attempting to, like, do the decor around those colors. No, I've never heard of it.
Kristen's explaining it all wrong. Okay, so when you see the outside of a home, right? Like, I feel like to some degree, it's a style similar to how you would decorate.
I disagree, just because I don't think that's the case nowadays. I think that's how it used to be, like, before, like,
craftsman style,
craftsman
or ranch,
style, or cottage and farmhouse and log cabin and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But now I think that people literally have the idea of what they want the outside to look like and what they want the inside to look like, and they don't necessarily have to mesh. To be honest, I've gone into more houses that don't match the outside than do, but I don't think anything different, because the outside might be pretty in its own right, and then the inside's decorated however the homeowner wants it to be. But I think you were like, let me tie this in.
I just have, like, this vision for, okay, so you and I bought houses 2-3 months apart, and then I have another friend who bought a house within the same month as I did. Mm-hmm. And her house is brand new. Like, she didn't have it built. It was just built, and then she bought it.
Okay.
And the inside matches the outside. Brand new, the color schemes, the flooring, all of it kind of is tied in. Right. So I guess for example, I don't prefer the color of my wood floors.
Correct.
This is not my first choice. These are what? Oak?
Yeah.
Maple, what is it? Chestnut.
Yeah.
They're light wood, but the color of them matches the stone on the outside of my house.
Right.
So if I was to open my front door and there would have been dark hardwood floors, I would think, what the fuck were they thinking?
Correct.
So moving on to the living rooms, now I'm like, well, what the fuck? Because my stone is orangey and tans and very little gray, and now I've painted my entire house gray. So it doesn't really match. So now I have gray couches in a house on the outside that has absolutely no gray on the outside.
Okay.
Are you following me?
I'm following.
So I just feel like I should have gotten tan couches or brown couches. No, maybe not brown, because brown doesn't match. I could have gotten a navy blue because they would match the shutters.
I think that you came in with gray furniture.
Right.
So you bought gray furniture and you like gray paint. So that's what you did. Because you didn't build this house. So the style wasn't yours. You bought the house because you liked the layout and the space and that stuff. I don't think you bought the house because you had blue shutters and orange stuff on the outside and then kind of orangish flooring. Like, that wasn't your choice. So over time, I think you're going to make it into what you want. So you don't want to decorate based on what they have, the previous owners have. You want to decorate based on your vision for the house. And I think you're trying to do your entire house at one time and not focusing on, like, room by room.
But do you understand what I'm saying as far as decorating to match the outside?
Yeah. No, I get it.
Like, I don't want outside to, like, I couldn't do my old house. I painted the living room and the kitchen was sea salt.
Correct.
But outside was just, like, a basic tan with white.
Yeah.
So, like, literally anything goes for the inside.
Correct.
My outside is so specific that I feel like it's weird if I try to do anything that doesn't really tie into those colors.
So you think the outside is kind of dictating what you want to do for the inside?
Yes.
Right.
Where, like, not all houses are like that. Like,
right.
Your house is the same color as my old house. Mm-hmm. So literally you could walk in and do any fucking thing and it would flow and you wouldn't feel like it's different.
Correct.
My house is such a specific scheme on the outside that on the inside I have to kind of match that.
Correct.
So should I change the outside colors?
Yes.
What the fuck? Okay.
You can't change stucco. You have stucco.
Correct.
You cannot change stucco.
No, that I'm not, because that's like a cream color. Right. It doesn't bother me.
You can change shutters easily. Shutters, first of all, a lot of shutters are not expensive. You might be able to take them down and have them painted and put back up. You might not even need new ones.
So I wonder, could I do a shade of gray?
Yeah, because there's 8 million shades of gray.
Or that cream color that's in my foyer, because that matches also the stone.
You could literally have them paint one shutter one thing and one shutter another.
But then also I had 2 rooms painted that blue color that's the same as the shutters.
Which is fine, but you like the blue color regardless. If the shutters weren't that color and you saw that blue, would you still have picked it? Like, you still think it's pretty?
Yes.
Okay, so then whatever. It's a bluish gray.
If you guys have any ideas as far as color schemes of houses, let us know in the comments. And do you guys match the outside of your houses to the inside of your decorating and interior design? Because I don't think that brown fireplace matches the outside.
Absolutely not. I don't know where they got that stone, but it wasn't.
That's not even stone.
What is that?
That's like faux marble.
Maybe they spent so much on the outside
that they can't afford.
That when they got to the inside, they were like, oh, fuck, we're out of money.
Have you ever wondered how your best friend could afford to go to Iceland or your sister could buy that expensive new bag? Either they finally won the lottery or their credit cards are getting tapped. With LendingClub.com, you can consolidate your debt or pay off credit cards with one fixed monthly payment. Since 2007, Lending Club has helped millions of people regain control of their finances with affordable fixed-rate personal loans. No trips to a bank, no high-interest credit cards. Just go to LendingClub.com. Tell them about yourself and how much you want to borrow. Pick the terms that are right for you, and if you're approved, your loan is automatically deposited into your bank account in as little as a few days. Lending Club is the #1 peer-to-peer lending platform with over $35 billion in loans issued. I love Lending Club because it takes away the headache of figuring out multiple bills for each credit card. There's one payment and it's hassle-free. Go to lendingclub.com/combos. Check your rate in minutes and borrow up to $40,000. That's lendingclub.com/combos. Lendingclub.com/combos. All loans made by WebBank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. I'll tell you what, when I was looking at houses, I could not believe the people who build custom homes and yes, it's their own fucking money. They can do whatever they want. But when you are building a custom home, whether you plan to be there for life or you only plan to be there for a couple years, in my eyes, and the smart way to think about it is that you need to think about resale value. Even if you plan on being there until the day you die.
Right. Somebody's selling it.
Somebody has to sell it, right? So when you have money and you build this custom home, you should probably pick a layout or create a layout that makes fucking sense.
Correct.
I walked through a custom home that was on the market for over a year. And in this home, there was, I want to say, 5 bedrooms, one of them being the master, one of them being a guest, and then 3 of their kids' rooms. These 3 kids' rooms were connected. So you had to walk through one to get to the other. And then the beds were built into the walls.
What?
And the whole time I'm thinking, who the fuck is going to buy this place?
Right.
Because I have 3 boys and they're sure as shit not putting their beds in the walls and when they're in high school and they're going to sit straight up and they're going to hit their head off the wall.
Right. I wonder how many concussions those kids got.
Well, and then it's like, who's walking through whose bedrooms to get to the bathroom and to get to the hallway and to get to downstairs.
Yeah.
Like, and then there was closets the same size as the bedrooms. And I was like, is this a playroom? Is this a closet? Is this the sex dungeon?
Right. Like,
I'm not really sure what's going on here. And needless to say, that house is still on the market, but I just don't think that people really think about it.
No, for sure. Like, our house was a flip.
Right.
But before it was a flip, we were told it was an illegal duplex. So
what does that mean, illegal duplex?
Like, they didn't have it permitted or anything, but they had it where it was like the downstairs was one area.
Okay.
Like, was one family. And then that front set of stairs that are there when you walk in the door, they didn't exist till the flipper put them in. The back set by the back door were there, and that's how the second family got upstairs. So then they had that whole upstairs area, but like...
Where was the kitchen?
The kitchen was where the guest bathroom is now, where they turned that into a guest bathroom. But they didn't have a stove. They had like a hot plate or something. And I just think about it and how people tell me, like my neighbors went and saw it before it was flipped and stuff, and they told me it was a disaster. And I'm just like... It's like some things still confuse me of how like it's laid out now. It's not terrible, but some of it's confusing. But
I love your house.
I couldn't imagine... Like, it makes me question, like, who thought that was a good idea?
That's what I'm wondering.
To do that, first of all.
Right.
Second of all, why didn't you have a stove upstairs?
Well,
if it was a whole other family living up there, like they didn't have access to each other. It wasn't like that set of stairs was inside, that was outside. Yeah, it was really bizarre. So that was my experience with our house, and then you were going and seeing houses and telling me about all these different layouts. Like, I don't think people think. I think they're like, oh, this might be cool, and they just do it.
I went through this other house that was actually right up the street from my old house, but it was like new, and the space was a lot nicer. They had HOA that actually like mowed your lawn for you, and like things that would actually make sense for us, just because I have to hire someone to mow our lawn and whatever. And so the developer called it, like his smart house, because he had it all equipped literally like a smart house. Mm-hmm. So we walk in. And downstairs, I loved it because it had a first floor master, which is what I always wanted. And everything sounded good. The one thing that, I know it sounds crazy, I know it sounds bougie, but I wanted 5 bedrooms. Why did I want 5 bedrooms? Because my master, my 3 kids, and I always have guests. They're always from out of town. So I wanted 5 bedrooms. This one had 4 bedrooms. Mind you, no one's lived here. It's brand fucking new. It's a smart house. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all of these things, and you're listing it for whatever price. And I go up to the second floor, and they have 3 bedrooms up there, but one of them is literally the size of 3 bedrooms put together. Why didn't you just make this 4 bedrooms up here?
Right.
So I said to the builder, I guess I could put a wall in here and make it 2 bedrooms. And he was like, but then you'd have to walk through the one to get to the other. I said, well, why did you guys do this?
Right. Yeah.
It was literally the entire one half of the upstairs.
Which I have never understood, like, the craze of, like, having this ginormous master. Because, okay, if you're putting a bathroom in it, great. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah. You want a shower, a tub, whatever. Mm-hmm. That's
like
great.
Like a vanity, maybe.
I have never, myself, understood the sitting area in a bedroom. Now, mind you, I'm not a parent, so I have no one to hide from. Like, I don't need to hide from kids. I have enough space in my house where I can hide from my husband if I want to. Like, but personally, I'm not going to, like, sit in any area of my bedroom that's not my bed and, like, be like, let me sit here and watch TV when I have living room after living room after living room option. That's just not me.
I definitely, since becoming a homeowner and having bought my 3rd house, I've definitely learned that I don't want wasted space. Like, I'm not going to buy a house that the rooms are not going to get used.
Right.
And I have seen in several houses where the master bedroom has a sitting area and it's not used.
Right.
I learned, like, I don't even have a TV in my bedroom because I'm like, I'm not, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to buy extra shit that I'm not going to use.
Right.
And I don't like to see, why are you buying a house that size if you have to fill it? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to have to fill
unnecessary space that's not going to get used. So you're spending money on furniture for rooms that are never going to get used. Right. And that was my biggest thing for this house was, okay, there's 2 living rooms in my, plus an office. So my old house, I turned that formal, quote unquote, formal living room. I don't know. They had a piano and a desk in there because they homeschooled all 5 of their kids. So I put French doors on it and made it my office because there was kind of an office in the back of the house, but I wanted to make that the guest room because there was carpet back there.
Right.
In a bathroom. So I was like, oh, perfect. I'll make this the guest room on the main floor. And then I'm out of breath.
Because you're sick.
So I put French doors on it, made it my office, had built-in bookcases built so I could put my computer on there. And then I had like all my stuff. And then I just had the 1 living room. Well, this house has the 2 living rooms and the office.
Right.
Well, I don't want to not use the other living room. And when I was asking for advice on Twitter, everyone's like, make it a home office. And I'm like,
I already have one. Yeah.
Make it a YouTube room. And I'm like, I don't YouTube enough to make it its own room. And if I was to do that, I would do in the office.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, could have 2 living rooms and do, like, a kid's living room and then, like, a more adult living room, because what I would hope to be the game room eventually is attached to that living room. So assuming that there's a TV put in there, then people can, like, chill over there, like the adults can chill over there while we play pool or whatever, and then the kids can be in this living room.
Right.
So that's the whole idea behind it, but who knows if it'll actually happen.
Yeah. I think you'll find uses for all of your space. Especially as the kids get older.
True.
You might be like, oh, wait, this would be good as
I'm just
else.
hoping that, like, maybe one day if I get married again, we will have our own separate living rooms, because now we have a full basement too. So the kids can be in the basement watching their TV show or their game or have their friends over. And, you know, when I'm fighting with my husband or wife, whoever that may be, we have our own living rooms.
Yeah. I mean, Corey and I do.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. And, like, I like it too, because your guests could be in one.
Right.
Like, if you were like...
have, like, a longer term guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily... You're not fighting over the TV, and you're not... Sometimes you just want to be by yourself.
I will say, though, the guest room that I have upstairs is big enough to be 2 rooms also.
Yeah, which didn't make sense to me.
So it's like, when I was talking to my other friend who bought the house, she was like, how big is it? And I, like, told her, and she's like, why is that not the master? I said,
right,
well, there's no bathroom attached to it. And also, in Isaac's bathroom, there's, like, the tub, and then there's, like, maybe 1 or 2 feet of, like, space, and then a wall. Like, it just, like, doesn't make sense.
Right.
I don't know. Like,
there's just
was that a mistake?
Right. Like, what were you trying to accomplish?
Did you try to accomplish anything here? Right. Like, I don't know.
They could have been victimized by Pinterest. I don't know. They might have seen something, and it just didn't go well.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. But I do have one room in my house that I'm not allowing anybody in it. And I call it the Zen Den.
Yeah.
And it's where all my crystals are. You did see it, because I would allow you to go in there.
Right.
But it's the crystal room. And I got Buddha right outside the door. And that's a room that I'm never going to let people in, because that's, like, going to be my area.
Yeah, you need one. Everybody needs some place that they go and zone, like,
well,
zen.
And I know that we just said that we don't understand, like, the sitting area and the bedroom thing, because it's, like, separated from my room.
It doesn't feel like
it doesn't feel like it's a part of my room. And I do feel like, because I'm here by myself with the kids, or when the kids are with their dads, like, this entire fucking week, I don't want to be downstairs in the living room by my fucking self in this huge house. I want to be upstairs in my room, like, near my bed, so in case I fall asleep or want to go to bed, it's right there. So
I like the way that yours is set up.
Well, there's, like, a little segue into my room.
Right, which makes sense to me.
Right.
Like, okay, I would say it probably makes the most sense out of any concept I've seen for a sitting room in a master.
Yeah.
I don't want to be sitting on my bed and see other seating. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I'm never going to not be on my bed if I can be, so I don't understand it, but yours does make sense to me.
Because it's like a separate room.
Right, but what the guest room situation doesn't.
No.
I've never understood, and I've seen that a lot.
It literally
there's
could be
guest
like a
rooms
hotel
that are
room.
bigger than the master.
I could literally set my guest room up as like a hotel room.
Right. I mean, realistically, if they had thought about it, they could have cut the size of the room and made a bathroom. They could have had an en suite in there, or whatever it's called. Ensuite.
That is really weird. Okay, so let's talk Instacart. We all have those days where we're exhausted and don't want to make an extra stop at the grocery store, especially if you have kids with you. So Instacart, you get groceries delivered in as fast as 1 hour or a time that works with your schedule. That means no more sitting in traffic, looking for parking, waiting at the checkout line. You order from the stores that you normally shop from, but without the hassle. So I love Instacart because if I make something for dinner, if I know I'm going to make something for dinner and I don't have all the ingredients, I can order Instacart and they can be delivered before I have to make the dinner. To get started, get the app or go to instacart.com and shop the groceries you need from your favorite local retailers. Your shopper gathers your groceries with care and contacting you if necessary. Try Instacart and get $10 off and free delivery on your first order. To get this limited time offer, go to instacart.com and enter our promo code COFFEE at checkout. That's $10 off and free delivery on your first order today in the mobile app or at instacart.com. And don't forget to enter our code COFFEE. Also, actually, I thought about this earlier today when I was like bringing my laundry down. So my old house was built in 2005. And that was only the one owner. And I loved that the laundry was on the second floor where all the bedrooms were, because I feel like that makes sense, right? Like to have all the bedrooms, you're not carrying the laundry up and down the steps. The only downside to that would be if it was to ever overflow, it's going to go through your ceiling. In this house, it's a year older, but it has upgrades like central vac, but it has the laundry on the first floor, which doesn't make sense to me when every single bedroom is on the second floor.
Right.
Why wouldn't you just put the laundry upstairs?
Right.
People are so weird when they're designing houses. I don't get it.
I guess what doesn't make sense, too, when I just, like, off your point of how it's on the first floor, is your house is, like, ADA compliant, and there's no bedroom on the main floor.
That's the other thing that I don't understand.
But then why is the laundry down here? If all the bedrooms are upstairs, how did they get upstairs? And even if they lived in your basement, how did they get up? There's no elevator, ramp.
Their wheelchair would not have fit in my laundry room through that space.
Right. So that's what is confusing to me. I don't know.
It was the whole, maybe they slept in the living room.
But there's no doors. You don't have, like, there's no privacy. And their wheelchair wouldn't have fit in that bathroom either. That's on the main floor. So it's just confusing. Like, isn't that weird to think about? Like, wait.
So my island in my kitchen is like half the size of the rest of the counters. And I couldn't understand it. Also, my oven is a lot lower than a standard oven. And I really was just like not sure what was going on. But, that's a really good point. If it's ADA compliant, but the rest of the house is not, and there's also no ramp to get in the house, and there's stairs to get in the back, the side, and the front.
Right. So that's what confused me.
So why?
I don't know.
Maybe they had a wooden ramp built over the steps?
Possibly, because I've seen people build them and take them with when they move. But again, it doesn't
answer
the question.
But they lived here when I looked at the house.
And also, how would they have gone to the bathroom?
Still, that doesn't even...
Doesn't fit in the bathroom, doesn't fit in the laundry room. They could just get around, like, your main areas of the main floor. So they could
Maybe
cook.
They made one of the bedrooms in here. But no, because they still had to go to the bathroom.
Right, they still had to go to the bathroom.
And still had to get in and out.
There's no shower. You have a powder room. Very confusing.
Houses are weird. Humans are really weird creatures, to be perfectly honest. Okay. My dog is on crack. She's been on
no words.
No words.
Kail has no words.
I don't know what her problem is. Can you not? I got this puppy. I said she's a King Corso. Everyone wrote into me and was like, I hope that you understand the work that a King Corso is. And I'm like, everyone told me that about a Rottweiler. I even had people try to talk me out of getting a Rottweiler.
Right.
And he was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, Bear was the best dog.
Hey, Karma.
I think you know that you have to train the dogs and stuff like that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially big dogs. And she's supposed to be the same size as Bear was as a male Rottweiler. Right. So it's like, you kind of, when you get a big dog, you have to understand that they have to have training. You have to be able to control a dog that size.
Yeah.
I also got a lot of shit for her ears.
But I don't think people understood that wasn't your choice. Her ears came like that. You didn't say, hey, do this. You found a dog that you wanted, and that her ears were already cropped. And
that's also...
no one's supposed to adopt her because her ears are cropped?
Just to play devil's advocate, ears cropped is different, from what I understand, is different than ears clipped. They're two different things, and this is a breed standard. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really going to get into it, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not like I was like, "Hey, I really want to crop her ears," and then I'll get her.
Right? No,
she came like that. So
you love her, and it doesn't matter.
Well, and I've said that too. Like, what if she was in a shelter and I was like, "Oh, she has her ears clipped or her ears cropped. I'm not going to adopt her." Like, so anyone that has their ears cropped, they should just be denied a home.
No.
So that was really annoying. But also...
And she came to you at the perfect time.
Yeah, she was literally the perfect fit, and I love her. I'm glad I got her, and she's perfect the way she is.
You're doing a good job. It's like kind of having... What do you think's easier, a newborn or a puppy?
For sure, easier a newborn, because a newborn shits in a diaper, so there's the mess. Even if they have a blowout, there is the mess.
Right.
With a puppy, it's like, if you do not watch them at all times, they could literally shit and piss all over your house and you have no idea. Mm-hmm. And I'm so thankful that she doesn't go up the steps yet, because that would be way too much surface area for me to have to constantly look at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You would for sure get your steps in.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you do now, but it'd be double.
But it would be double then, because I'd be like, going upstairs looking for her and having to check for pee and poop. But I will say that I am doing things a little bit differently for her, just because I don't really remember what it was like to have a puppy when I had Bear and with Gizmo. Gizmo's so little, so he was a lot different. For Karma, and that's another thing. So I had posted something on my Instagram story that was like, my alarm set for me to take her out in the middle of the night, and somebody wrote into me and was like, by you waking up in the middle of the night for her to go outside and go to the bathroom, you're teaching her that those are the times that she should get up and go to the bathroom, so you're basically never gonna sleep through the night. And my whole thing was, no, because it's like a baby, right? So their stomachs are so small that they can't hold it, and their bladders and stuff like that. If I set my alarm, if I go to bed at 9 and I set my alarm for 12, that's 3 hours. Then I set my alarm again at 3. That's another 3 hours. And then I'm getting up for the day at 6, and I'm taking her out at 6. Over time, and I guess maybe in a couple months, I would set it I'd take her out at 9. Maybe I don't take her out at 12. I take her out at 3, so she's waiting a little bit longer. And then I get up for the day and take her out at 6. So eventually, every time I'm taking out one of the middle of the night times.
Yeah.
And then she can hold it overnight.
And they say to do that. Like, anyone you talk to, I don't say anyone, most people you talk to, dog trainers, animal lovers, people who've had them their whole lives, they say you have to treat them like a baby, and you spread out the time little by little. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with, if you crate them, it's going to be a mess in the crate, and then if they lay in it, it's a mess on them. Because the crate standard is only big enough for them to go in, turn around,
and lay down.
That's it. However, if the dog has to go, the dog's going to go.
Oh, yeah.
I strongly disagree with the dog won't go where it sleeps. No, they'll go and lay in it.
Oh, well, I mean, I might get shit for this, but the first night I did every 2.5... No. The first night I did every 3 hours. And I realized quickly that it was too long for her. So when I went to bed that first night when I got her, I went to bed at midnight, and I set my alarm for 3. That was too long.
Right.
She had already shit in her crate. So I was like, okay, I gave her a bath, cleaned up the crate, and I did it again. I thought, okay, maybe I didn't take her out to poop. I'll try it again. So from 3 to 6, again, it was too long. So the following night, I made sure, okay, 1.5 to 2 hours. That worked way better. So I think she was too young to do the 3 hours. Now, because she's 11 weeks... the 3 hours is working. The one night it was like 4 hours, and I checked on her, and I still took her out, but she was fine. Like, she wasn't crying. She didn't go in her crate. But I don't know. And I only know how to crate. I don't know how to potty train other than that.
Right.
So is there another way?
Some people do the pee pads by the door. Some people do the bell.
I did the bell with Bear. Bear was bell trained and was trying to ring the bells up until the day he died.
Right.
So that really worked for me, but I also didn't bell train him until he was about 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they don't really get the concept.
Right.
The pee pads thing by the door, I don't know if I agree with that, because I feel like if I'm in the kitchen cleaning up, I'm not seeing my dog go to the door to pee by the door.
Right.
So that's just teaching the dog to go pee by the door.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like 50-50. A lot of people believe, like half people would believe pee pads are good. Half of them say it's a really bad thing to do while you're potty training because it teaches them to go elsewhere besides outside. So I think it's just like hit or miss.
Yeah, I don't think I could do the pee pads thing.
I know people that did the pee pads. Personally, I'm not a fan. Because I want my dogs to go outside.
Yeah.
And I think, I would be confused. Like, I think about myself, like, okay, if someone's telling me to pee on this, then I'm not going to go outside to pee.
I can see for a little dog who lives in an apartment.
Right.
Like,
which you
you're
have
teaching them to go in that specific area.
Right.
Kind of like the fresh patch.
Yeah, the fresh
like
patch
the little
of grass thing. Mm-hmm.
I could get that.
Yeah.
I could see that, and it's a little dog, so you're not going to take the dog out of the apartment or whatever. I guess I could understand that. But she's a big dog, and to be perfectly honest, I don't want to clean up her huge shits when she's 1 in the house on a pee and poop pad.
Right.
I just don't. So.
No, I think she's, doing really well.
She doesn't. Anytime she's had an accident, like just now while we were recording, is because I waited too long to take her out.
Right.
She knows that she's supposed to go outside already. Like, she learned really quickly. But I also have to take her out pretty much every hour. Mm-hmm. If not 45 minutes.
Yeah. Well, she's also eating more frequently than an adult dog does.
Mm-hmm.
So I know with, like, adult dogs, they say, like, usually within 20 minutes of them eating, they're going to have to go to the bathroom. So I would assume that if that's an adult, like, the puppy's probably, like, I would say maybe half that. Mm-hmm. So... And then if they're drinking throughout the day, they're obviously going to have to pee. And it's just, they can't hold it. They don't know. Everything's smaller.
It was so funny. When I had Becky on the podcast and we were talking about dogs, she's like, I really don't have any interest talking about your dog. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, you don't seem like a dog person to me. And I kind of knew that. And I'm like, as we're talking about this, I'm like, I'm wondering how many people are listening to this, like, that they don't care about the dogs.
Like, I give no fucks about this conversation.
Right. I'm trying to think, like, what other stuff is going on. I don't really have anything new going on or anything. It's back to school and sports season, and your schedules are super busy, but it's the perfect time of year to get into a healthy routine with your teeth. And the best way to do that is by getting a Quip electric toothbrush. The compact and wireless design mounts to your mirror so you save space in your bathroom. Plus, the travel-ready cover protects your brush when traveling or on the go. I love Quip because it vibrates on each side of your mouth for the perfect amount of time so you don't miss any spots and you know that you're not shorting yourself of brushing time. So aside from being a game changer for brushing your teeth, these toothbrushes look so cute and come in different colors. And now they have kids brushes, which are the same as the original version, just tweaked for a smaller mouth. Help them develop a grown-up line without childish gimmicks. Quip is my go-to, not just because of the sleek design, but because it helps me remember how long I need to brush with their built-in 2-minute timer, like I just said, and it pulses every 30 seconds to remind you when to switch sides to help you clean your whole mouth. That's why we love Quip, and that's why we're taking it everywhere we go this fall on all our weekend trips. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/coffee right now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's your first refill pack for free at getquip.com/coffee. Okay. So I had someone write into the podcast saying that they struggle with co-parenting in a way that they're teaching their kids to always do what they want to do and what makes them happy, but then they have to go to their dads or their moms when they don't want to.
Okay.
So what do you do in a situation like that?
I'm not a parent, so I don't want anybody to come at me for that. But I think it's hard because as a parent, there are times, like, you know what you're telling them is best when it comes to their health and their safety and whatever. Like, what you say, you're making the best judgment call. And even if your kids don't agree with you, at the end of the day, you have to trust your gut. But when it comes to certain things that are about, like, choices, like, I want ice cream for dinner. Okay, well, that's not necessarily best for you, but if that's going to make you happy, once in a while isn't going to hurt you.
Right.
Then you have major situations with, you know, if your parents are separated and you have to go to one, whether it's weekly or however your custody schedule is, if they don't want to go, how do you explain to them that they have to while also saying it's kind of like best for them, even if it's not making them happy?
How the fuck is it what's best for them if they don't want to do it?
Right. Which is hard because, you know, like in your parenting style, you always tell your kids, like, your main thing is you don't care what they do as long as they contribute something to society.
Yeah.
They're good human beings.
Yeah.
And they're happy.
Yeah. What do they want to be when they grow up? Well, hopefully fucking happy. That's all I could fucking ask for.
Exactly. So in your situation, like, where you split time with your kids, I think that depending on how old they are.
Said child is,
If one of them said, hey, you know, I don't want to come home. Like, I don't want to come to mom's today. Or I don't want to go to dad's today and it's the day. I think that would be a situation where with co-parenting, you and whichever father of the child should be able to figure that out. If the kid's not happy and he's visibly upset or he's expressing to you that he doesn't want to do something, you should be able to figure that out and say, hey.
Well, I mean, because the child deserves to be validated and heard, right?
Right. They're a human.
Isaac's about to be 10.
Mm-hmm.
If it were Isaac saying, you know, calling me from Joe's phone and saying, Mom, I really want to stay with Dad for another 2 nights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're doing this thing, or like he was a little busy, so I feel like I want to spend more time with him. If Isaac is saying that to me at almost 10 years old, I'm going to say yes.
Right.
Like, that's not even, he should be able to tell me.
Right.
That's not even asking.
Right.
You're telling me that you want to spend more time with your dad. That's how I feel. Lincoln's 5, so I do feel like because Javi and I are both present, I do think the 50-50 time is still really important.
Right.
But again, if, you know, he's 9, 10 years old and he's saying, hey, Mom,
right.
I want to stay with you for a few more days. You know, I feel like I didn't really get to hang out with you or whatever. Again, I feel like that's something that he should be able to call his dad and say, I'm going to stay with Mom for a little bit longer.
Right.
This isn't those, like, early years. I mean, yeah, they're still young, but this isn't like 1 and 2 where that time is necessary to be with both parents an equal amount of time, right? Like, I remember Leah was telling me about how her and Corey basically let the girls decide at this point. So I think she was telling me one time, like, Aaliyah was sick or something, mm-hmm. and she wanted to be with Leah. So she just called Corey, and Corey was like, that's fine. And they just kind of handle it outside of court and just do that thing. I feel like that's probably best case scenario.
Yeah, I think that's an example of, like, the best kind of co-parenting you can ask for, because you're listening to your kids. Like, you're putting your stuff aside.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a mom, obviously, you never want to hear, hey, I'm going to miss some time with you so I can be with the other parent.
That fucking sucks. It would
but
fucking
it's not
kill me.
About you.
No, it's not. And that's why I think...
I think every parent that's in a co-parenting situation needs to look at it in that perspective. Like, okay, this isn't about me. This is about the child. Mm-hmm. And if, you know, you're trusting your child to do, they're growing up. If, say, they're 9 or 10, like Isaac, like, they know what they want to do. Mm-hmm. They know what they don't want to do.
Right.
Whether their reasoning makes sense to you, they shouldn't have to reason that.
I don't think that they need to have a reason, though, either.
Right.
If Isaac called me tomorrow and said, Mom, I want to come home, I don't think that he necessarily needs to have a fucking reason.
Right. Like, he should be able to come home if he wants to.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time where I felt like Javi was not in a good headspace, and I wanted to keep Lincoln for some extra time so that Javi could get his shit together. And I told Lincoln, I said, we're going to go check on your dad. I said, but we're not staying, like, you're not staying the night. You're going to come home with me. Mm-hmm. Okay, Mom. Okay, Mom. Okay, Mom. We get over there, check on him. Things are fine. All right, Lincoln. You spent a couple, and I had even dropped him off, and I left and went shopping and, you know, did my thing, so he got to spend time with his dad. I said, all right, Lincoln, get your stuff. We're about to go home. No, he wanted to stay with his dad. I said, all right, Lincoln. Even though we had the conversation that he probably wasn't in the best headspace, by the time we got there and he settled in and he wanted to spend more time with his dad, I was like, all right.
Right. And
it sucked because I was planning to bring him back home.
Yeah.
But he wanted to be over there. And I said, okay.
In that moment, it wasn't about you. You had to put your feelings out, take your feelings out of it, and just focus on Lincoln's.
Did it hurt? Yeah.
Yeah. But
it did.
That's, I feel like co-parenting is...
It hurts no matter what.
Right.
I feel like there was, you know, when Joe was wanting 50-50 or whatever, and he said he wasn't going to file, and then he turned around and filed, I felt like it was almost an attack on my parenting, mm-hmm. even though it didn't necessarily have anything to do with me. And so I could see why that would maybe... make the other parent feel that way.
Right. I definitely think it's a conversation for the person who wrote into you. I feel like it's a conversation they would need to have with their co-parenting partner and do it in a way that isn't coming across attacking. Because like you said, like you automatically, anytime I think the other parent like has an issue, I think it probably comes across as you feel attacked. Yeah. And you're on the defense. Mm-hmm. And that's natural human instinct. I think anytime anybody comes at you about anything, like we are not built to take any type of criticism. And
especially when it comes to parenting.
Right. Because nobody knows what the hell they're doing. No. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. There's just what works and like whatever's in the best interest of your kids. Like at the end of the day, everybody's goal should be to be raising good humans. And I think
my friend actually brought up a good perspective on it. She was saying how, together or not, you're raising this child for such a short amount of time to then turn around and be an adult and a good person and a good human for this amount of time. And that amount of time that you're an adult and you would want them to be a good person is much longer than the time that you have to
shape them.
Right? So
help guide them.
It's so important for parents to work together. And I think that I've struggled with that a lot. I feel like every time Joe and I take 5 steps forward, we're taking 10 steps backwards. And it hasn't been the same since he filed for child support. And I feel like, I try to keep telling myself to not be so angry about it, and I'm having a hard time with it. But Isaac picks up on everything. Lincoln picks up on everyone. All the kids pick up on everything, and so they know. Mm-hmm. But Isaac's already 10. So, up until he's 18, he's going to be an adult much longer than he was ever a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So the short time that we have is so important.
Right. You even see now, like, I feel like once they go to school and they're kind of out from under you guys for
hours and hours.
Yeah. Like, that's really, like, when you think about it, they start going to school at, what, 6?
5.
Okay. So they start going to school then, like, at that point, all you can do is hope that the stuff that you've taught them up till then. The good stuff. Right. The good stuff is what is reflected. Like, that's where they learn to, like, socialize and
form their own opinions.
Right, form their own opinions and be good friends and make their own choices, and hopefully they're the good ones. And gosh. 5 years is such a short time before they're not with you all the time.
That reminded me of, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast yet. When I talked to Lincoln about death and the dog dying or whatever, I had posted, or Lincoln had gone to his dad's and then come back to me and was like, they told me at church that if we pray for Bear, it'll heal him. And Bear had already died, and I already explained to him how death works.
Right.
And I already explained the whole process, and then he went to church, and then I don't even know who the fuck told him that. And from what Lincoln told me, it was somebody at the church. It wasn't Javier Lauren.
Right.
And I got pissed off.
Yeah, yes.
And I feel like it was partially a co-parenting fail. And I went on Facebook and I said, I normally don't ever bring religion to Facebook, but I need help. Right. Like, this is a co-parenting thing that is important to me because, as people know, I don't believe in God or Jesus. And Javi just recently started going to church, and I do think that certain people have encouraged him to do that. We'll just say that. And so I was pissed off because I felt like he should have asked the people who are watching Lincoln at the church what goes on while we're at mass and you're teaching our child, or
right,
you're
like
watching
Sunday school or whatever it is.
What is being taught? What's being, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so then when I asked him about it, he was like, I don't know who told him that. I don't know what goes on in those classes. Like, he seemed like he had a good time. And I'm like, okay, but this is co-parenting, and this is, yes, we want to give Lincoln the option, and all my kids, to be perfectly honest. I don't want them to just not believe because I don't.
Right.
I don't want that. I want them to have all their options and make a decision based
for
on
themselves, how they feel. And
so that was a co-parenting thing that I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we've never had an issue up until now. And how do we navigate this now?
Yeah, I think that was not good because the way that you explained it, it was a situation that happened in your house, first of all. Mm-hmm. And the way that you explained death, none of your kids have had to deal with death.
Ever.
ever. Literally. Not a pet, not a person, no way, shape, or form.
Right.
So this was literally a first for you, having to deal with that with them. And the way you chose to explain it, I think, was the most sensitive, factual way that you could. You were not sugarcoating it, but you weren't like, hey, here's the ins and outs of what's about to happen.
I mean, I pretty much laid it out for them.
Right, but you weren't like harsh about it.
No.
It wouldn't be like how you and I would talk about it.
Right.
You talked about it on a level that they would understand.
Yeah.
So for Lincoln to then go to church and essentially be told that mom's a liar, because that's basically what happened. Like, mom's a liar or she's a murderer, pick one, and that's where we're at.
And here's the thing. Had they explained, like, had he gone and Bear was still sick, and they said, if you pray for him...
he may get better.
He may get better. There's no guarantee, but if you pray, he may get better.
That would have been different.
That's a compromise for me. I can compromise with Javi and the church and whatever the fuck you're doing. Right. I can go with that. Like, if we're talking about co-parenting and we can talk about compromise and sacrifice and all of that shit, I'm good with that. But you're telling my 5-year-old son, whose dog just died, that if we pray for him, he will heal. I was fucking livid.
Right. Because, again, how do you navigate that? And because you've been married to Javi, you guys never went to church.
No.
So that's being influenced from an outside source. So now...
that already pissed me off.
Someone else's parenting style and beliefs are now affecting your child. Mm-hmm. It's not that person's child. Mm-hmm. So I think that's also difficult because it was never a conversation with you and Javi. It wasn't, hey, Kail, I'm going to bring Lincoln to church.
And if he decided that,
which you would have been fine with. Mm-hmm. But you probably would have thought, hey, why don't you find out what they're talking about?
Right.
Like, let's make sure that we're comfortable with wherever he's going to be while you're not there.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole other aspect.
And I talked about it on the podcast. This is the same church that I talked about on the podcast prior to, where I said that I went.
Okay.
Because I was invited by friends. I went. My kids hated it.
Okay.
They were like, we didn't want to go back there. We didn't like it. It was boring, whatever, XYZ. Okay. We never have to go back. I hated it too.
Right.
I mean, I didn't hate it.
That's not what you believe in.
It just wasn't for me. And I said maybe I would try again later on, but at the time wasn't for me. My kids hated it. So now you're bringing my kid back to the same church that he supposedly
didn't like to begin with.
But then Javi's telling me that now Lincoln loves it,
which you're very confused about.
So I was just like, okay, well, I'm not. Anyway, that just reminded me the co-parenting and then the co-parenting. And
I'm sure that religion is probably one of the many struggles in co-parenting with lot of people.
I'm sure for a lot of people
that's what I'm saying, with a lot of people. And now it may become one of your struggles that you didn't know you were going to have.
And it's crazy because when Javi and I were married and Javi grew up Catholic, he went to Catholic school and may or may not have actually gone to church. I don't know. That was something that people would say, like, you and Javi, you and Kail are never going to last because of religion. Well, I'll have you know, we ended and it had nothing to do with religion for whatsoever.
Right.
But it's weird now that almost 6 years later, it's just now affecting us because
of an outside source.
I mean, if Javi wants to go back to church, more power to him. I really don't give a shit.
It's like you're open to it.
I want to be realistic about it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Like, I feel this was actually the show Working Moms that I always talk about. One of the couples on there has it's a lesbian couple and they have they have a daughter together, but they split.
Okay.
And one of the moms gets with somebody else who's super religious, but the ex-girlfriend, the other mom, is not religious. So now it's a co-parenting issue for them, and it's cool because I feel like I could relate to that on that level.
Right. Now it's like a whole other...
Yeah, because there has to be a compromise, but also I do want my kids to be educated on all their options.
Right. And you're fine with education. It's just kind of like,
don't undo what I just did at home.
Let's educate them, but without basically saying that you murdered your dog. Because that's essentially, like, in Lincoln's mind, like, he was probably so confused.
He literally said, hey, but Mom, if we pray for him, it'll heal Bear. No, Bear's dead.
Right.
Bear's dead.
So I think that, that you've always said co-parenting is like an evolutionary thing. Like, it's always changing.
Always.
So now this is going to be another aspect that's being thrown your way. And maybe.
Well, and it's like when I talked to Javi about it initially, he was like not understanding why I was so upset about it. And I was like, you didn't even ask the people what they were going to be talking to our kid about. And even if, like, why did it even come up? Maybe Lincoln said something like,
about Bear passing away.
Yeah. But it's like,
right. It's hard. Like, you had just done such a good job.
I felt like I did a good job.
I agree.
And I think,
especially in a situation where there had never been a death.
My conversation with them off camera was better than the one on camera because it was real and raw and undocumented. They really understood, and I asked them, do you have any questions? And they said no. Do you want to be there when we put Bear down? They said yes. Like, I don't feel like I influence them. I give them options. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear if they have any questions. And I just feel like they undid what I just did. And I was really proud of myself, and I was really proud of my kids because they were so understanding and they were so brave and they wanted to be there. And I feel like they undid all of that.
Yeah.
By giving Lincoln this false hope, because he said it like in such a happy way that I was like, no, Lincoln, that's not the way it works, babe.
Right.
So that kind of sucks.
All you can do is, I guess, maybe touch base with them about it and be like,
I'm going to wait until if he asks me questions.
Yeah. Just because, I mean, he's 5, but like, maybe, I'm wondering if maybe they made him think that Bear's...
I don't do the heaven thing. Like, Bear's in dog heaven.
Right.
We're not doing that.
You, that's fine. Bear went in to be part of the universe again.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be the first time that they show that on Teen Mom 2, is like death of a pet or death of anyone.
And that was hard because, not that you haven't dealt with death, obviously, but...
Not really, though.
You haven't. Like, not...
My grandfather died in 2014, but like... He didn't have a funeral or anything.
Right.
I grieved on my own. My kids didn't know him. Like, it was just one of those things that I kind of dealt with internally, and I didn't really...
It didn't really, like, outwardly affect
like, nobody else really knew about it
exactly.
or anything. So, and it wasn't explained to me as a kid because it never...
It never happened then either.
Nobody died up until I was an adult.
Right.
So, yeah, it's like I didn't have pets that died ever. Bear was the first one, so it was just, I don't know, I was proud of my kids for everything, and then...
They were so brave.
Yeah.
Like, they dealt with it so well.
So I had told them off camera, for those of you who are listening and don't know, I had an initial conversation with my kids off camera the night before we put Bear down, and... Obviously, they came to film the next day, and I told them the morning of, like, I wanted to re-explain basically what was going to happen.
Right.
But they kind of already knew from the night before, and they handled it really well, and I asked if they had any questions. I don't think there was any tears the second time I told them until we got into the vet's office.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think that we've seen anything like that on Teen Mom.
No, and I think... You know, you always have issues with clearances with MTV, but I think that was one clearance issue. That's a good thing.
Oh, I wouldn't have wanted them in the...
Yeah, just because it was such like a raw moment for all of you.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know what to expect.
Right.
I will say that when people were telling me that I wasn't going to want to be in the room and I shouldn't be in the room, I was pissed.
Yeah, people shouldn't tell you what you want to do and what you don't want to do.
And then it was like, oh, all the trolls on Twitter were saying... when I posted Karma, it's only been a week. I guess you're replacing your dog. And it's like, everyone grieves differently. And personally, I specifically did not want another Rottweiler because I felt like if I got another Rottweiler, it would be me trying to replace Bear or have something similar. And personally, that's not what I wanted to do. Right. And Karma actually just kind of fell in my lap. And I really wanted another dog. After I said I wasn't getting any more dogs, he passed away, and I realized I wanted another one. And I don't know, she's been about as much of a handful as a puppy is. Yeah. But it's been a good 2 weeks, I think I've had her.
And Bear taught you guys a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I got all his pictures printed out there in the living room and look good. And I was overwhelmed, I guess. with all the condolences that people sent.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much people understood that the loss grieving.
Because people don't talk about it.
Like you're grieving the loss of a pet, and I don't think truly before it happened to me that it was as devastating as it really is.
You can't, it's one of those things where you literally cannot imagine it until you go through it.
Right.
You're kind of like in this, oh, well, it's just a dog. Or it's just your pet.
And as fucked up as it sounds,
person.
That's exactly the way I thought about it prior.
It's not a person, but like, they're a soul.
No, they really are. And people sent me flowers and fruit baskets and cards, and I was like, is this normal? This is normal. I had no idea that that's what, and I felt terrible because I feel like I was kind of heartless prior to, I didn't know that that's, like I said, Bear was my first dog I ever had. And my friend, who I've been friends with for probably 10 years now, I was scrolling on Instagram and this morning, and she lost her dog. And I was like, oh my God, I let her know. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, if you need anything, I'm here. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. They're like your best fucking friend.
Literally. And you just like don't even, they're like the one that you don't think about because you're like, okay, well, I fed them. I watered them. They went out. I played. We're good. You just don't think about, like, you get used to them being there. And it's almost like this, like, not that you forget
almost
them.
Like
you
take
kind of take
them
for granted because you're like, oh, they're here. We're playing, whatever. Sometimes they're annoying. Sometimes they're bitchy.
Like fucking people.
Exactly. And you just, it's
become into like a routine.
Don't look at them like people and like
no. Bear was a person.
Yes,
Bear was a fucking person.
Everyone makes fun of me with my dogs, and I'm like, no, they're my babies.
Yeah.
And then when I have babies, I'm just gonna have more babies.
No, literally, Bear was a person.
Yes.
And I'm like,
and they have personalities, and they have feelings, and it's so
a person. Crazy, but yeah.
But it's hard, and I don't think you're heartless because I think people.
They don't know until they experience it.
You don't know until you experience it. And same thing with people because I know, when my dad passed away, that there were some people that were like, oh, sorry. Like, literally didn't understand. But then, like, we're 7 years later and they're losing, like, a parent or a relative. And they've been like, I'm so sorry that I wasn't more sensitive. Like, I understand now and it sucks so bad.
Yeah.
So I think it's just one of those things where, like, death is such a not talked about thing. It's, like, taboo and people don't want to talk about it because it's... Like, it's an unknown.
Lindsie and I had Brittany on our podcast a couple weeks back, and she had lost her husband and then married a widower also. And that was something that I had mentioned to her, like, I don't know if I would know what to say. And it's one of those things where it's like, you don't have to say anything at all. It's just like, I'm here for you if you need me. Mm-hmm. And it's, I think you're right. I think people don't talk about death and people don't know what to say. And I'm very awkward, so, like, I don't think that I've ever really been sensitive to someone losing their animal or, like, a loved one, because I don't know.
You've never been on the other side of that?
No.
And now you have, and it's like a club you wish you didn't join?
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. That's kind of, that's normal. So you're not heartless. It's literally everybody. There is no good thing to say. Most of the time when people have stuff to say, it's, like, not helpful at all. So... the I'm here for you is the best.
Like, I'm here if you need me.
Yeah. Like, he went to a better place. Okay, well, where the fuck is that? Because it's...
doesn't feel
to
better.
you, he's like, it's in the bed I just bought him.
Right.
With the toys I just bought him. Yeah. With the family that loves him. That would have been the better place.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's definitely hard. But I think, you did a good job with the kids and...
Thanks. We'll see how it plays out.
Right. Let's just hope that the church doesn't say they're resurrecting Bear next, because that'd be fun.
I'm literally giving Kristen the death stare. Like, if they bring up my dog to my 5-year-old again,
then Kail's going to have to go to church.
Like, I'm going to have to go back and let them know how I feel about it, because...
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, it's hard. Co-parenting can't be fun.
No. I mean, sometimes I'm like, we're hitting a milestone and we're doing really great. Yeah. And then other times I'm like, how the fuck are we 10 years in and making 10 steps backwards? You know what I mean?
Right. Like, how did we get here? Because...
Right.
What?
I don't know. I hope that all of us get on the same page at some point. I don't know. It's one of those things that I feel like is a learning curve every single step of the way. But when you get into a groove where it's working and then something is a setback, I feel like it's even harder to get out of because it was going so smooth for so long.
If it, like, you take it as more of a blow than you would have if things were kind of rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you do it for your kids.
Right.
That's all you can do.
Right.
Just hope you guys are making good decisions and doing the best you can.
I'm not going to do Lindsay's closeout like she does on every episode because I butcher it every time. But I will say that if you have not followed us on Coffee Convos Podcast Instagram, you can go do that. And we will see you next time. I guess we'll talk to you next time. Thank you, Kristen, for coming on the podcast. It's been fun.
Yes, it's been fun.
And that's a wrap.
This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.